Hey guys, LazyBeast here. Now we're well into the first week of the Shadowlands, and you may have realised that there's quite a lot of things to do. Not all of them are compulsory and you don't need to do every single one of them, but there's quite a lot of things to do, so what I intend to do with this video is provide you with a nice little to-do list. It's sort of ranked with most important to least-ish, but that obviously depends on your personal goals in-game. So I'm going to try and get through this nice and quickly. It's meant to be just as a quick reference of what to do, and if you feel that you've forgotten something, you can come and check back. And maybe even write this down yourself on your phone, or on a piece of paper. I tend to make a little checklist on my phone on the notepad app just so I can tick things off and then untick them at the start of each week, and then it stops it from becoming confusing when you've got to do multiple things on multiple alts and then you forget where you're up to on one character and so on. So let's jump into it. So starting off with the weekly things that you should do Torghast as a priority, the highest layer possible. Just get that done at the start of the week and then you can forget about it. Next you should do the Renowned quest for your Covenant, so this is either going to be, or both of these, the 1000 Anima quest. You've got to get 1000 Reservoir Anima and deposit that, and the Redeemed Souls quest, the weekly quest from your Covenant Sanctum, which is the one where it wants you to basically go into the Moor and collect souls and bring them back. Whilst you're in the Moor, you may as well also do the Wrath of the Jailer event, which is a chance of dropping 183 item level gear and some other nice things, so you might as well just do that, get that done. You can do it once per week. And then onto the gearing thing, so you want to do your Mythic Zeros if this is still in the first week or the second week that you watch this video. If Mythic Plus is now available, then do the highest Mythic Plus you can per week. Remember that there's now the weekly vault, so you can do more and more Mythic Plus to get more chances of different items from the weekly vault. But just make sure you do at least one Mythic Plus dungeon on the highest difficulty that you can per week. Whilst you're doing that, you can also aim to get the Dungeon Weekly Quest done, which is the quest that you get from Oribos. And speaking of weekly quests, there's also the PvP one, which is also from Oribos near the PvP vendors. Now if you're doing any sort of regular PvP or PvE content, then just pick these up and you're just going to do these naturally over the course of the week anyway. Just don't forget to pick them up. Then there's the Covenant Callings, which are, as we know, emissaries but just revamped for Shadowlands. So these are going to ask you to do either dungeons, world quests, all that sort of stuff. So again, if this is asking you to do a dungeon, you can combine this with getting your Mythic Plus done and your Dungeon Weekly Quest, and you can, three birds with one stone. Just make yourself super efficient. Once the raid is out, Castle Nathria, you want to then work on that as well. So obviously just clear as much of the raid on the highest difficulty you can, and that's going to see you well through with your gearing process. And as well, bear in mind the weekly cache, so it works with the raid as well. So the more raid bosses you kill, the more pieces of loot are going to be available from the raid tier in your weekly cache. And then once you've done all those things, it's on to the daily things. Now these, other than the first one, are not all really mandatory. The first one isn't even really mandatory, it's only if you want to sort of min-max. So the first thing you should do is the Moor dailies each day, and you should also note the Eye of the Jailer. So you should stay in the Moor as long as possible, do as many things as you can before your Eye of the Jailer becomes overwhelming and it forces you to leave the Moor. So this includes get the dailies done first because they're going to be your most reliable source of rep, and also kill some rares along the way. So the reason for doing both of these things is to gain rep with Venari first of all, but also to collect Stygia, which is going to mean you can buy things from Venari, eventually being able to buy an item that puts a socket on a piece of gear, as well as permanent upgrades for both your time in the Moor and in Torghast. So see what matters to you and focus on that. Then you can do the Covenant Callings. Now you don't need to do these, you don't have to do them, but they're worth doing. They give you a decent bit of gold and some other resources and maybe even some gear, and they're also a good source of endurance conduits right now. Perhaps the only source of some of the better endurance conduits, so if those matter to you, make sure that you do these. You can also work on getting the materials you need to ensure that when you can craft a legendary, when you've got enough soul ash, you've got everything there ready to go, because the items that you need can be quite expensive, so make sure you can focus on that. And with the legendary powers, the memories, some of them are locked behind dungeon bosses, so they're not a guaranteed drop, so you may want to work on chipping away with unlocking those. Then you can basically just complete any world quests that pop up if you want to stock up on anima, or if there's any items that come that may fill in a gear so that you're lacking a decent item in, you can focus on those. And again, the conduits also drop from world quests quite readily, so keep an eye out on that and see if there's any that you need. There's then also the Covenant event, which is entirely optional. There's some nice rewards from this, mainly cosmetic, things like mounts and stuff, but these could be worth doing if this is important to you. And last but not least is the missions table. So you can of course do this on your phone once you've got it all set up in game. You don't actually need to go to the mission table in game. You don't need to do anything like creating troops or any of that business as it stands. So yeah, you can just set this up in game once and do it on your phone. So that, guys, is pretty much everything to do weekly and daily in the Shadowlands currently right now. If I have missed anything that you feel is important, please do add it in the comments. But there we go, guys. I hope you're enjoying your time in the Shadowlands, and I'm sure I am. I've been LazyBeast, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.